This is UCAPehan. In this program, we will talk to Ron and Joyce Titular, both being considered as pillars of the voice industry. What have they done to remain relevant? How is their being a Christian impacting their work in the entertainment industry? All right, today on the program, we have the couple, Ron and Joyce and Titular, and they'll be talking about anxiety and public speaking.
Thank you so much for having us, Nori.
It's a great day to have you both on the show.
Our pleasure to be here.
All right, we'll keep it at that. Okay, so I know that you have been in the media industry in general for a very long time, and there's no need to introduce.
He's been there for a long time. Me too.
Yeah.
But him longer.
Yeah, but for the sake of the newer audience, because now we're seeking the newer generation. So for the sake of them, looking at this episode today, can you just be quick on your introduction about yourselves and how you met probably, or how you met the Lord and so on and so forth?
Okay, well, I got into broadcasting I used to say by accident, but I do know it's the Lord's design by now. But I walked into a studio with a friend who wanted to be an announcer. And while we were there, because I'm a frustrated musician, but while I was there, they asked me to audition as well. And this was while I was in college, some years ago. So and they called me back. A week later, I stepped into the studio. They pointed out to me how to, put a song on the radio, how to turn the microphone on, how to get the next song on.
Just the basic stuff.
Yeah, and then they told me to come back at 6 p.m. and go on the air, and that's what happened.
How old were you then? You were just what?
I was, let's see. I think
Teenage years, or no?
Yeah, I think I was 17.
Wow.
17 or 18.
Was it legal then to work?
Yeah, I mean, it was just, it wasn't a full-time job anyways. I was in my third year of college. So yeah, I was about 17 or 18. Anyways, I stopped.
Illegal child worker.
Yeah, no, but I stopped so that I could finish college, which, was totally different. I was in the College of Business Administration doing an accountancy degree, which I later turned into an marketing and advertising in the University of the Philippines. And when I had finished that course, I winded up back in radio.
Anyway,
instead of some other business.
Yeah.
And God had some wonderful design for me, which has been quite enjoyable. And along the way, He helped me get my wife.
It's the voice that matters.
Yeah,
well,
it's true.
It is true. It is literally true. I was out of the country for a short while.
He was working in Indonesia
as a consultant for a radio network there. And then I decided it wasn't for me. So I came back home.
The Indonesia part was not for you.
The Indonesia part,
but the radio part
was for me. But Indonesia wasn't for me.
What?
I loved the people
that
there.
1 year you stayed there was for you anyway.
It was for me because, as with everything, the Lord teaches you things as long as you are willing to learn them.
Yeah, exactly.
And everything works for the good of those who who love the Lord. So I had learned a lot of valuable lessons through that, and I came back, I think, wiser and more understanding of what my bosses were going through. In the media world, in the radio world, what they had to do to run the radio station. So as a consultant, I took home a lot from that. And that incident, though, when I got back home, I had been invited to the party of my close college circle of friends. And at that party, in the middle of the party, in walks this beautiful lady.
Ang baduy mo naman.
But that's the spice of it. When you try to spill whatever.
Joke lang. Hindi joke lang yun.
Right. Anyways, she did get to sit down and our friends introduced us.
I had made new friends with one of his friends, a singer, and I met her and she was about to have parang yung kanyang debut concert as a solo artist kasi ano siya nun, backup singer siya. And so now she's gonna have her own concert. So nung nakilala ko siya, sabi niya, Joyce, tulungan mo naman ako magbenta ng mga tickets sa aking kauna-unahang concert. And so I said, okay. So I was helping her sell tickets. Tapos sabi niya, oy, birthday ko next month, punta ka. So I went, and then I was seated right next to him, except I was on the other side. You were here.
I think I was there.
It was like that. He was there. Yeah. Di ba ganyan? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I was like
when I had to go like that.
Yeah. Yeah, he had to go like that because he's half
I'm
deaf.
SSD.
Oh, okay.
He's a single-sided deafness.
Yeah.
So he had to really face toward me. And I think that worked in your favor because, your voice traveled easily to my ear. And,
he has to shift focus.
And he was so funny. And we were cracking jokes at each other. And then, kasi ako sensitive ako sa bosses eh. I mean, voices.
And he's just got really good voice.
Really, of course naman.
Thank you.
Voices really attract me. I have gone up to strangers. Hindi ko kilala, pero pag gusto ko yung boses, kay lalaki and kay babae, pupuntahan ko, sabi mo, I really love your voice. Anyway, so I'm sitting here and then we get introduced and paano nga pala, what did you say?
Yeah, our friend said, Joyce, this is Ron. Ron, this is Joyce. And I said, hi, nice to meet you.
Oh,
and then she
and
said,
I said, are you a DJ?
true story.
Because back in
And
the
then
day,
he goes,
DJs
as
are...
a matter of fact, I am. Kasi DJ naman talaga siya noon. And so, ayun na. Nagkwentuhan na kami to the max.
Wow.
And we
But
became friends.
were you guys Christians back then?
No.
Not yet.
We were not.
I mean, I have a lot of friends in college shared with me. And, when you're with friends and you just say, yeah. That, yes. But as in seriously knowing, no.
Ako
we were
hindi
not.
din.
Because I'm also interested in knowing
Uh-huh.
what both led you to become Christians. And
It was, I'll tell you the story.
Yeah.
It was trumpets, the
musical.
not the musical, but the group that holds summer
Okay.
classes for acting, musical theater, and all of that. So I had been a student of trumpets one summer in the acting class, and yung mga Christians doon, hindi katulad ng mga ibang Christians na sinasabihan ako, alam mo, pupunta ka talaga sa hell kasi ang buhay mo, blah, blah, blah. So yung condemnation na naramdaman ko doon sa mga born-again Christians, nung I'm so sorry talaga. Parang...
In the early years.
Kung ganun lang kayo, I would rather be in hell. I don't want to be in heaven with a bunch of judgmental people. I mean, that was how I was. No? So... instead of feeling God's love from these people, I felt the condemnation of God first, which I think is kind of like, I mean, God doesn't condemn. I mean, you condemn yourself. God doesn't condemn. It's your choices that send you to wherever. Diba? So, dito sa trumpets, they were Christians and I didn't realize it until it was too late. Oh no, they're Christians.
Too late.
Oh no, I'm gonna get condemned. I might have to drop. Ganun yung feeling ko. But you know what? They did not treat me any differently. Nagulat ako, sabi ko, I don't feel excluded or special or different.
Yeah.
They didn't care even if, we all introduced ourselves and they asked about, give us your name, what you do, and what church you go to. Ako naman sabi, what church you go to? Anong klaseng tanong yun? Hindi naman ako, religious at the time. So, when I said, I'm Joyce, I work as a model, and I don't really go to any church. Wala. Parang hindi nag-iba yung tingin nila. Sa akin, they accepted me for who I was. And ang isa sa mga acting professors ko noon ay si Enchang Kaimo. And so I tucked her hospitality and the hospitality of all the students in that class who were Christians in my heart. That was here. I'm a firm believer. Hospitality heals.
Yeah.
It builds relationship.
Right.
So I had it tucked in my heart. And then a year later, Pasko nun, or 6 months later, basta soon after, Pasko nun, nothing was going on in my life really. Nothing great, nothing awful. Alam mo yung gray area, you're just floating like a jellyfish. But deep in my heart, alam ko naman there's something special for me to do in this world and not just be a jellyfish and float where the waves take me. I have to be doing something, but nothing is happening in my life. Boyfriend ko, nun si Ron, he was my boyfriend. And then so, biglang nalala ko si Enchang, nalala ko yung trumpets. And then something in my heart made me just call her up. I had her number. And I kept her calling card. So I called her up. And I said, hey, Enchang, di ko pa alam kung ano sasabihin ko sa kanya eh. I'm just calling kasi, I want to get I want to know more about this Jesus thing. Yun pa yung sabi ko. She started to cry. I mean, I'm not close to her and she's crying on the phone. I'm so glad you called me. And I'm like, I was so scared. I wanted to back out because there's too much emotion. We're not close yet. TME, too much emotion. But I hung on the phone. Respect. I have to respect. And then now I know why she was crying. She goes, okay, after the holidays, let's meet. So we met with her and her husband, Ron and I. Ito pa, wait. Hindi pa kasama si Ron kasi ako lang yung tumawag kay Enchang. So after I called her, put down the phone, set the date to meet with her and her husband after the holidays. I went up to Ron. Sabi ko, Ron, shy din ako. Kasi syempre, it's like, if you're not a Christian, talking about God in a relationship, kung boyfriend, girlfriend, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe other people have different experiences. Pero ako, parang weird to ask him, hey, do you want to get to know Jesus? Yung parang ganon. Would you be willing to come with me? Because I called up this lady who's gonna, tell us more about Jesus. So anyway, he just said yes.
Yeah, I said yes. Because my
because there's a hidden interest.
My pinaka mentor at that time in radio.
Mentor.
My the mentor, LW leader, Al Tortoise, very good friend of mine, also a fantastic
siya yung
trainer.
boses ng GMA7.
Yeah. Who mentored me was doing Bible studies in our office at the time. So, as I mentioned before, I had friends in college who shared with me, and then my mentor at that time was always sharing as well in the office during break times and stuff like that. So when Joyce asked me, it was like it was not an offensive,
earth-shattering or weird,
earth-shattering question for me. It was like, okay,
yeah, because you're pretty much used to the conversation about Jesus already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
so,
and all in the Lord's time, as they say.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
so
just
yeah,
right
it was just right. And then so we met with Enchang and Mari. And it was a huge revelation for us because their testimony is really intense. I mean, I thought I was bad. They're badder. If there is even a word badder, but they were badder. And I was thinking like, if God can forgive these badder people, He can forgive us not so bad people.
Yeah.
But of course, in God's eyes, there's no such thing as you're bad, badder, baddest. Evil, or evilest.
Yeah. We all fall short.
We're all, we're all sinful, period. There's no
there's no
shades of gray
there's no category
with God. But at that point, the way I was thinking, kung kaya ni i-forgive at baguhin ng Diyos ang dalawang taong na ito, dalawang taong ito, tapos even if they told me their deepest, darkest secrets, my perspective of them, yung respeto ko sa kanila hindi nagbago. Hindi sila bumaba sa paningin ko. I still, and in fact, my respect for them rose because of what God did in them. So if God could not only clean you up, dust you up, pick you up, and lift you up higher than before, even if alam ng ng madlang tao yung buhay mo na magulo, that's a miracle. So I was like, I want that. I want that for Ron and me because I had so much bad things going on in my life at the time. And so we started going to a midweek fellowship. And then that is basically
the start.
The start.
I think what's critical in your story is what Jesus have been preaching all over the Bible. Not just Jesus, but even in the older prophets, from Genesis onwards, it's the acceptance thing. That sometimes with Filipinos, our problem is empathy. We are very hospitable, but in the empathy part, we are lacking. I think we should get that from the West more. But when we start accepting people, then it will change lives, just like what happened to you guys. So, but now I'd like to move on to what led you then to start the anxiety and public speaking. I was thinking about when you sent me this information, I was like, anxiety, what does it have to do with public speaking? But then there should be connection somewhere.
Yeah. Well, we do have a Facebook page,
Go check it out.
Anxiety and Public Speaking. You have to join and answer some of our questions before we include you in the group. We're not like Jesus. Jesus, kami, we have to ask you questions and double check who you are. Kasi baka you're a troll. Anyway, so it's an exclusive, and we want to create a safe space for the people that join our group. So we don't, we really are careful with whom we accept, because if they're judgmental or if they're, or they're just trolls, we don't want them in our groups. It's a very, very safe space. Ron and I started teaching a workshop on how to improve your voice for speaking. So that's how it began. So how did it begin? Do you remember? Kasi ako medyo parang
no, I've been teaching and training for years, and Joyce is
he
one
has
of my.
been, because I am one of his students.
And what I wanted to do is pass on what my mentors taught to me, and excellent mentors, as I mentioned, Tortoise and Mike Pedero, both Christians, by the way, and they taught me the value of the voice, and I wanted to pass that down. So I learned to love to train people to speak, and I learned to love to see them grow. And Joyce was one of those, because she was really my biggest fear.
He trained me. He's he was my tormentor.
My biggest fear with Joyce getting into this industry
For radio,
and actually even for voice, was her deep fear of rejection. I knew she had that.
Yeah, because I had a very traumatic incident when I was in my teens. Beauty queen na ako noon. So that's another thing about me, because I wasn't able to really introduce myself.
Right,
I am a beauty queen. Yeah. And hindi ko pwedeng sabihin former, kasi di ba once a beauty queen, always a beauty queen.
Always.
So, still a beauty queen. I had been invited, syempre, beauty queen, you get invited to host and co-host and
you're going to be everywhere.
So, you're everywhere.
Live.
Yeah.
Live
So I was
national
invited
television.
to this Saturday afternoon dance show, live program, in the day when wala pang teleprompter and things like that. So, in the middle of the show, the floor director grabs me and says, "Hey, Joyce, do you know the story of the tortoise and the hare?" And since I'm a bookworm, I go, "Yeah, of course. I know that. That's Aesop's fable." He goes, "Could you summarize it?" I go, "Yeah, I know the story, kinda." He goes, "Okay, stand here. And when the camera when we're back on air, because we were playing commercials. When we're back on air, you just summarize it and then introduce the next performers." So he drags me to one side of the studio, and the main hosts are on the other side. So I'm there all alone, and nakaganon yung floor director, diba nakaganon? And then pag gumanon niya siya, ibig sabihin start, kasi you're on the air na. So nakaganon siya. And then, as we were counting down the seconds to being on the air, unti-unti kong nare-realize, teka muna, hindi ko yata alam kung anong sasabihin ko. Nako, ano to? Oh my goodness, Lord God, help me. I don't know what to say. Alam mo, nagpapanik na yung utak ko. Outside, I'm like really calm, beautiful, and collected, but my brain was panicking. Sure enough, when he said, boom, we're back on the air, it's like, hello, everybody, welcome to Discorama, and do you know the story of the tortoise and the hare? It's a story about,
Yan na, wala na. Hanggang dyan lang.
Yun. So, buti na lang nakita nung director. Oh no, we better cut to the next set. Just diretso na lang i-cut. So, I was left scarred and traumatized by that. I was only a teenager. At alam mo naman natin, kapag ka teenager, konting pimple lang, end of the world. Right? And of course, that was a little bit bigger than just a pimple. It was embarrassment. The people there, they were like, okay lang yan. People make mistakes. But to me, because I have this perfectionist thing in me, it was a major fail. And I had decided that day that this public speaking thing, this hosting thing, wasn't for me. Pwede akong mag-host, pero kailangan may kasama akong isang professional host para sasaluhin niya ako. So I made up my mind that public speaking wasn't for me. And then when I met him about 11 years later, and he trained me for going on the air for radio, doon nagbalik yung confidence when it comes to communicating. So that's little by little. The confidence returned, so I was able to do radio well. Then I started doing TV newscasts. Then I started doing voiceover work. And then I started doing a lot of interviews on TV. So unti-unti ba, the Lord was, building up my skills.
Yeah.
And then when Ron got involved in Christian radio online,
Yeah, I was. I was invited to help set up a contemporary Christian.
Was it The Edge?
Yes, it was The Edge, and because the origins of that project were with the Educational Foundation, the ASCM, there was a stress. The education behind the broadcasting was emphasized by my partner at that time, and he said, "I want you to train." I want you to train Christians how to do radio broadcasts because, most Christians, when they say, okay, here's an opportunity to broadcast, they'll say, oh, great, I'll put my Sunday sermon on, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, you can get Sunday sermon on Sundays, but people are consuming media and, we need to do something contemporary, right? And so I said, okay, this is the skills that the Lord gave me, and this is what I'd been praying for. How do I use these skills? And so I started teaching people how to do radio broadcast. And one of the crucial things there was teaching them how to sound, or to sound good on radio. And little by little, we started to teach that more.
We developed a workshop.
Yeah,
because we also had, we started doing an annual conference called Redeem the Airwaves, and we will have different topics, breakout sessions, and then Ron and I would handle the radio part. And then part of the radio part would be the voice. So I had a voice workshop.
Yeah.
Then yung partner ni Ron dun sa Edge Radio, si Pastor Chuck, moved to Thailand, set up a school there, a media school called Media Light.
Yeah, he studied the film part.
He studied the film part, runs the audio part. We started flying there once a year to teach.
Yeah, over 10
years
ago.
na kami pumupunta doon para magturo ng lahat ng tungkol sa voice radio, all that stuff.
Everything. Yeah.
So I think what's important to this also is that
So nagmorph.
Yeah, and not just
nagmorph
that,
from
when you do your
voice
workshops,
to
you also do the character building, personality development, so to speak.
Actually, when we started training, he asked me to teach the radio part. But little by little over the years, one of the things he noticed was that the students were coming away with more confidence, in speaking and presenting in front of crowds, and that's the feedback
they would be
he
less
got
afraid
from their home churches.
Of facing people.
Their home churches would tell him, "Hey, these guys, the students came back, with a lot of confidence."
Yeah.
And he realized that it came from a lot of it also came from what we were teaching.
Right.
So, as Joyce said, it morphed
into something that is about confidence. And then it morphed again. Now, it's not really about confidence. It's about courage.
Yeah,
That's the deeper value. Confidence is just icing. You need to dig down deep and you need to have courage. Because paano naman magkaka-confidence ang isang tao na walang experience na mag-stand up in front of people to deliver a message? Saan siya hahatak ng confidence? I mean, kung makahatak man siya ng confidence, that's only the icing that will go away.
Yeah.
It is God who gives you the courage.
Yeah.
And the problem is what happened with me, diba yung confidence. Super confident ako, beauty queen ako, pero wow, semplank ako sa hosting, right? I fell. So that confidence was eroded. And there was no courage holding the confidence up. So, hindi ako nakatayo agad. And I allowed my mistake to define me for 11 years. But if you have courage, kahit wala kang confidence, if you make a big mistake, the courage will make you stand up. You won't have to wait 11 years.
Yeah.
You wait a couple of days, maybe, I did so bad, I can't believe it. And the next week, you're back.
Yeah.
You're presenting again.
I think one more question I'd like to ask you guys is that in this modern age, right? I mean, back in the day, I'm not very old, but I still was able to experience the older radio style or the broadcast style in the days. And these are done professionally with a lot of preparations,
Right.
etc.
Right.
in this modern age, people can just go online and broadcast. What no training. You would know. Yeah, the preparation is lacking,
Right.
etc. How do you combat into just like what you've said, redeeming the airwaves? I mean, it can still happen until this very moment that when we listen to contents online, for example, that it should be quality contents. It should be contents that when you listen, it'll be music to the ear.
Kasi it's a free world for me. So ako okay lang. Actually, it's a good place for our students to practice. They can upload their stuff even if their stuff is not perfect. Because I really believe that my students are rocket ships. They're not guns. They're rocket ships. Because if they were guns, they would have to aim first and make sure perfect bago nila ipulang trigger para matama yung target. If you're a perfectionist and you want to have your show so perfect, you will most likely never be able to air it. But the internet gives you that chance na, hindi pa perfect yung aking produkto. Fault mo na ha if you don't fix it. But it gives young people an opportunity to post their stuff and get critique from people, feedback. So yung rocket ship naman kasi, ang rocket ship hindi kailangan naka-point sa Mars. Right? Bago ka umabot sa Mars. Kahit saan yan. Kasi when you shoot up and you're finally free from the gravity of the Earth, course correct ka na lang ng course. Asan ang Mars? Andyan. Asan ang Mars? Andyan pala. Asan? Oops, too much to the left. Turn to the right. So I think we need to look at the internet as really a free space for people. It's dangerous. Yes.
So it should be looked at as progressive learning.
Naman. Yeah, for me, yan yung sa akin.
Okay.
No?
Well, for me, in regards to the question, we need to realize that media is an extension of your voice. And your voice is a very powerful tool. The voice is a very powerful tool. The word is a very powerful tool. With the word, God created everything, which is the power of the word. And we have the ability to affect people just with the word. Media gives us the power to send that word out in a broad way. And I think a lot of people misjudge the power of media that everyone's starting to learn now with how viral things can get on the internet. But to use your phrase, in the old days, not just anyone can get on media.
Yeah.
Only a select few.
You had
chosen by the bosses.
You had to be oriented. You had to understand the power of media and what it might do. I mean, we were told, be careful when you turn on that microphone. If you say, there's an earthquake, people will believe that. Why? Because you're on media. Right? Internet has done a wonderful thing. It's opened up media for everybody to have access to it and have that power. The bad thing is a lot of people just don't realize the power or how powerful media can be and how powerful their words. And when I say words, it's literal words, it's videos, it's pictures. They they miscalculate the power that their messages have.
Can I give an example on what you're talking about? Dito sa virus, COVID-19 natin, may isang citizen or netizen na nag-upload ng isang video ng isang tao na nakahilata sa daan, nalasing, and then nag-speculate siya.
Yeah.
You're really right. He obviously does not have training because his speculations got everybody thinking that, this guy is this guy is that, ito yun. But later on, when the media finally were there, the ones who have the training and who know how to handle stories, were able to get the complete story that, he was a Korean guy who got drunk and just fell asleep on the road. Yeah. So, ngayon, nagkalma na ang tao. So, tama ka, yes, people don't understand. And if you're gonna go out there and be a reporter, you better.
You better
check. Especially when it comes to that, when you're reporting things. But if it's something like, I'm gonna do poetry reading.
Okay.
I'm gonna read, I'm gonna read Genesis 1 and I'm gonna put it online. Those things, I am like, go, please.
Yeah.
But if it's something like what Ron is saying and what you're saying, you really have to be careful.
You do. I mean, even when you put out something that's not, say, hard news, tawag natin dyan, hard news, you put something that's entertaining. Oh, it's just for entertainment. But even then, the impact it can have on everybody who might have access to whatever you posted. And we do teach this in some of our workshops, especially for social media. People don't realize there are two parts to that phrase, social media. Everyone understands the social part, right? But there's a lack of understanding of the media and the power of media. And you look at it, and that, to use that comic book phrase, with great power
comes great responsibility.
Right. So the power of media needs responsibility, and a lot of us take that for granted. Social,
I'm very excited to attend your workshop. I've attended one by Noel Zarate.
He's a good friend.
So now we have another, not we, but they have another one in March, and I'm attending that again as part of the staff. So I've volunteered, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to attend yours also. When is this going to be?
Our next one is for kids.
Yeah, it's for kids.
Because I am a graduate of trumpets,
as she mentioned earlier.
And my teacher in trumpets, one of my teachers, because I went back to trumpets 2 or 3 times. Yung naging teacher ko naman sa broadcasting and newscasting, si Kata Inocencio, she had to take care of personal stuff. So she asked me, her student, to take her place. So that was really cool. This May will be our 3rd year teaching at trumpets. So please send your kids from age 12, 10 to young adults.
Young adults.
So we will be doing it
one.
a 3rd time this May 2020, and they have a Facebook page. Just look for Trumpets Play Shop.
Right?
Trumpets Play Shop.
For other workshops, we usually don't have open workshops. It's group. We do it for groups. Workshops for groups that want to invite us to their organizations, their churches, right?
So you don't organize a workshop and
we don't
get everybody in.
No.
We've done it a couple of times, but we're really happier
Our
when
schedule
people
is it's easier when
because I still work as a voice talent and an actress. So if we are going to do our own workshop, we have to do the marketing, we have to do this, we have to do that. But
it's a lot of work.
But the Lord keeps us busy with
a lot of work,
things,
but I don't. Parang I'm doing so much that so I just like, okay, these companies want to hire us to teach their people. And so maybe later on kapag ka na.
Yeah, because we've thought about it.
We're not too busy with your...
we've thought about it. We've debated about it. Should we set up a place and set up our own? Because a lot of people do ask.
We also are thinking of setting up our own
school. There are a lot of groups that invite us. But here's what we can say. You can go online and look for our, either through public anxiety,
anxiety and public speaking. Please join that.
And then you can shoot us a message. You can also email us at brightspeaklsm@gmail.com, brightspeaklsm@gmail.com, and ask us, right, if you can get a group together. Then we can talk about the possibility of doing a workshop
for your group.
For the group, right? Yeah, because what we like to do is we like to specially craft a workshop for whatever group we're teaching. We don't have a generic. Yeah, we really make sure that custom made per group for the needs of that group is what we do. Okay.
And we also do one-to-one. We're starting to do one-to-one online with individuals. So we work with people like in different countries, help them improve their delivery. So we're getting into that also.
Wow, Sir Ron Titular and Miss Joyce Titular, Joyce Burton Titular. Let me just complete that whole thing. Thank you. It was just a powerful discussion that we had today.
God is good.
Amen. God is good.
Amen.
So again, more power to you guys. To whatever venture that you are into.
Salamat.
Let's be used by God mightily.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And that's your UCAPehan's episode for today. Till next time.
Kaano na ba katagal na ako ay naglalakad? Paulit-ulit na akong umiikot, naliligawan, napapagod sa kakahanap sa nawawala. sa kakahintay lang sa wala. Paulit-ulit akong umiikot, nadarapa, malapit nang sumuko. Ngunit sa isa